Welcome back. There are 5 seats on the Sarasota City Commission. 3 represent districts, 2 are at-large. This year, the 2 at-large seats are up for grabs. In March, a first round of voting was held between 8 candidates. The top 3 vote-getters are now in the runoff election, which will be decided next Tuesday. Jennifer Ahern-Koch led the field with more than 21% of the vote. Hagen Brody received just shy of 20%, and Martin Hyde narrowly took 3rd place by a 52-vote margin, getting almost 15% of the vote. Tonight, they are all here for their final debate, and joining us, we begin tonight with opening statements from each of you. And let me just say, congratulations to all of you. I know a little something about running campaigns. I know what you go through. This is hard stuff, but you've made it with just a few days left, and that really is to be congratulated. Jen, why don't you introduce yourself, and again, you have a minute.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Jen Ahern-Koch. My parents came here in the 70s. I went to high school here, graduated from Cardinal Mooney. I went away for college, and for graduate school I went to American University and Columbia University in New York City. I moved back with my family about 20 years ago. I have 2 boys, Toby, who's at UCF, and Oliver, who is at Booker High School. My husband's a teacher at Booker. And I am my neighborhood's president. I was on the planning board of the city of Sarasota for 6 years. I've been involved in numerous civic organizations like the Coalition of City Neighborhoods Association, Save Our Sarasota Trees, and STOP. So I am very knowledgeable in the city of Sarasota. I've read the comp plan, I've read the zoning code, I've read the EDCM, and this is the next natural step for me. And so I hope to win a seat on May 9th.
All right, Hagen Brody.
Good evening. Well, thanks for having us. I appreciate you having us on. There's a lot of very important issues I hope we get a chance to discuss. A little bit about me. My name's Hagen Brody. I grew up here, went to Sarasota High School and Brookside Middle School, returned after law school to try to make a difference. And that's exactly what I've been doing ever since coming home. I was a prosecutor here for approximately 4 years, where I dealt with all kinds of issues that the city deals with, from municipal ordinances that the city passes all the way up through serious felonies. Been giving back in different ways as well. I volunteer coach at Booker High School, and I'm very involved in an organization called Teen Court, an organization that gives kids a second chance. We have a lot of lingering issues in this city that we've been talking about election after election, and I got involved to really find some resolution, make a difference in these issues that we've been dealing with for years.
All right, Martin Hyde.
Well, yeah, again, thanks for having us, Alan. I'm Martin Hyde. I'm a successful businessman. I should qualify that because my mother, hello mother, says that self-praise is no praise. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I have 4 sons, and my oldest is 24 and is a deputy sheriff here in the county. I'm about lower taxes, less waste. I'm not endorsed by any of the old guard. I'm actually about change. So I'm looking to bring some common sense and fundamentally and very importantly this week to save us from becoming a sanctuary city.
Well, that has been in the news lately, and of course we are going to discuss that. But we are just getting started with these issues, and we will dive right into them with the candidates right after we return. Welcome back. Tonight we are hosting a debate between the 3 candidates for the Sarasota City Commission. As Martin indicated, there are a lot of serious issues that you will have to deal with if you are elected to the City Commission. The one that has been in the news for the last couple of days has been the issue of sanctuary cities, which came up in your last forum at New College. And Jen, that has created a little bit of a stir. There is video out there of that forum in which you indicate that you are supportive or would be supportive of Sarasota being a sanctuary city. Is that your position?
No, that is not correct. That video has been altered, and it has been used and manipulated specifically to direct attention away from our real city issues that you meant and to create fear. So we do have a lot of city issues here. We have homelessness, we have affordable housing, we have jobs, we have development, we have administrative approval is a big issue. I have walked the city's neighborhoods and knocked on thousands of doors, and not one citizen has once asked me about that.
Of course, it's a serious issue that we are debating around the country. Within the last couple of weeks, the federal court has basically put a hold on President Trump's effort to withdraw money from communities that say that they are a sanctuary city. Martin, I saw you were shaking your head.
I mean, because let's be honest and let's not tell lies. The specific words that we used were a variety of different definitions, a lot of which are pretty vague. But from my end, if we're going to be a city and a community that encompasses all people of the city, all of our diversity, then yes, we definitively need to consider the option of being a sanctuary city where we can protect our citizens, each and every one of them, even though they're not citizens.
You say that you're quoting...
That's what she said.
Okay.
They're the actual words from the video. I don't know how you can dice and splice it. If she wants to deny it, deny it.
All right, Jen, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond to that, and then Hagen, I'm going to let you get a chance here to weigh in.
Yes. So again, it's taken completely out of context. It was a question that was asked at the New College Forum. It is not a city issue. It is a federal issue, and we answered it under that guise. And I said options. So that was my word, was options. You can interpret options any way you want to interpret options, but that was not what I intended to say by that at all. And again, this is not a city issue, and I do not think this is an issue that the citizens lay awake at night and wonder about.
I do.
Nor do the city staff.
I do.
Hagen, you were sitting there. You witnessed all of this. Number one, what's your position in terms of what happened at the other forum, and what is your position on sanctuary cities?
Well, I'm not going to comment on what happened on a prior forum. People can make their own assumption or judgment on that. As far as the sanctuary city goes, look, we're not going to make a political statement and use the city of Sarasota to do so. On the other hand, you know, we have such limited resources. We have the lowest amount of police officers we've had in the city for years. We're not going to do the federal government's job for them. So, you know, we're not taking a position on that as far as I'm concerned. We do have other issues to deal with in this city.
Has this issue been blown out of context here? Because
No, absolutely not. Look, Catherine Steinle was shot by Juan Francisco Lopez Sanchez, an illegal immigrant and a felon who'd been deported 5 times. But he found sanctuary in San Francisco to murder a young American woman. And that's not going to happen in Sarasota, not on my watch. She says it doesn't keep her up at night. It keeps me up at night. The idea that we'd even contemplate it, the idea that anybody would think that they would have a foothold is outrageous. It also is contrary to the oath. The oath says you're going to uphold the Constitution of the United States and its laws, not with your fingers crossed behind your back, not saying, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Either you are or either you aren't. These were the words that were said. This is what the consequence of. So far as I'm concerned, it disqualifies you from being a city commissioner.
Jen.
I think that is a ridiculous statement, and I think it's fear-mongering at its very, very best. And I think as long as while we're talking about constitutions, we should also talk about the city charter, which talks about nonpartisan elections. And there is a video of Mr. Hyde over there who admitted on the video to donating $4,000 to a PAC to go around the election laws. So, you know, if you're going to uphold the Constitution, you should start with the city charter.
You know what, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond to that, but then I want to move off of that. We could always bring that issue up later, but I do want to get to issues that affect everyone in Sarasota.
Well, you know, it's $4 grand of my own money. You know, that's an interesting thing. I'm not bought and paid for. 85% of my campaign came out of my pocket on my nickel. I'm not beholden to anybody, so really not sure what the point is. I spend my money as I choose to and as I see fit. My special interest is Martin Hyde being on the City Commission, and I will be on May the 9th.
Let me just weigh in there, because some big-time developers also contributed substantial amounts of money, and there was a story that was written raising questions of, does that make you beholden to
Well, I don't see how. I've never met the people. I've never met Carlos P. Ruff. I've never met Randy Benderson. I know who they are. I dare say they know who I am, but I've never met them.
But
okay.
Can I just interject
Sure.
there? Because that's not really the point. The point is
Well,
that we have a city charter that says that this election is nonpartisan. And when you donate money to a PAC that then donates money to the Republican Party so that they can send out a postcard on your behalf, you are skirting around the election laws. And Mr. Hyde admitted that. And there's a video of that, 100% of him saying that.
Hagen, what do you make of all this?
I mean, I'd much rather be talking about the homeless problem we have in the city. I'd much rather be talking about traffic issues. I'd much rather be talking about the #1 concern, and that's the way that the city is growing. You know, you're the one that keeps asking these questions. I think we should move on.
Absolutely, and we are going to do this. We're going to have more time in our next block, and the next subject will be something that actually has been in the news in the last couple of days, which again is the homeless problem. For the first time in a long time, the city and the county have come together in terms of a common approach to the problem. And I'm wondering if the three of you agree with what the City Commission and the County Commission are doing in terms of this new approach.
Well, it's not a new approach to me. I've been talking about a lot of what was encompassed in that report for 5 months now. And primarily, it boils down to using the assets that we have in the community, not using taxpayer dollars to build any new facilities or pay for public housing of any kind, using the assets, the charities, the nonprofits that we have in this community in coordination with law enforcement and the county courts, the mental health providers, to get results. And that's essentially what her report concluded.
All right. We are going to give both of you, Jen and Martin, a chance to respond to that and give us your opinions about Housing First. Coming up in just a moment, when our debate picks up in the second half hour, right after we check the weather. Welcome back. The three finalists for the Sarasota City Commission are here tonight for our live debate. Let's jump right back into it. Next issue would be affordable housing, which is really one of those other vexing issues. This is one of the most affluent, expensive communities, but many of the people who service our community, our firefighters, police officers, and teachers, simply cannot afford to live here. Martin, what would you do about it?
Well, let's be clear. We can't put a chicken in every pot. You know, affordable champagne is sparkling wine. What we can do, we have some land to do this, we can cut the impact fees down to zero. We can make a 15% return for a developer if we increase the density and get the unit sizes down to about 600 feet. Because if you do that, we can get the unit cost of an apartment down to about 40 grand, not to sell, but to rent. If we divide that up by a buck a foot per month, that's 7.5 grand a year. That'll give us about 15% return for a developer, and it'll give people proximate space relative to where they need to be. So that's affordable housing math. The rest is just a story.
Hagen, what would you do?
Well, I think it's important to recognize what you said. You know, affordable housing is a traffic issue. We have become a commuter city. People are living in Northport, Ellington, Parrish, and they commute to Sarasota every single day and clog our roads up. So it's an essential, it's an important problem that we need to address. And you know, the way to address it is to work with builders who specialize in these types of units. I do think that there are density flexibility requirements that need to be loosened for certain projects in order to make it affordable for whoever is building that structure. But there are builders that specialize in these types of units, and we need to contact them and attract them. And when they are interested in building here, we need to be optimistic and help them get their building off the ground.
Jen, what would you do?
Inclusionary zoning and density and height bonuses for a mandatory 15, 20%, whatever that number would be. I'm just throwing numbers out here at this time. But there, you can do that. You can include it in the zoning code, and then that way you would have affordable housing, 15%, 10%, 20%, 30% throughout the entire city. If it's with mixed use, it's even better, because then you can have that, build up that live-work situation, and you don't have affordable housing just in one area of the city. You have it mixed all over the entire city.
Right.
It's a real tool.
While we have time, you know, people, when they vote, they are going to be voting on where you stand on the issues, but they're also voting on you as individuals. And I want to get to some of those issues while we have time. And Martin, I'll start with you, because you've seen some of the articles.
Oh, absolutely.
You're belligerent?
Supposedly. You know, let me...
Hold on, let me just, you know, pull out the question, because, you know, there was been a lot of discussion in terms of some personal issues, which we're not going to go into, but also in terms of some of your encounters with the police department, and at least the perception that you are belligerent. Now, sometimes, you know, assertive and aggressive is a good thing, especially when you're in office, but sometimes it is not productive. So when you read these stories about your encounters with police officers and what they have to say and what other people in the community say, what do you say to the people who are watching this right now?
Well, I don't know who the other people in the community are. I think they're all Jen's friends. I mean, the truth is, very simply, look, you got a plane, and the plane's about to be landed, and you got two people you can have land the plane. One of them has 33 years of experience and has never crashed a plane and has done it successfully many, many times. And then you've got somebody else that's been doing it for 6 months and maybe used Flight Simulator 2 a couple of times. The one who's used Flight Simulator 2 is a super nice person and you love him to death. The guy with the 33 years experience is a bit harsh and a bit unpleasant, but the question is very simple for the voters. Who do you want landing the plane?
Okay. Hagen, you were a former prosecutor before you entered this race. There were some stories about how you left the office and your law license, which was suspended at some point. Some people will read those stories and question, geez, if he can't keep his law license current, then how do we hand him the keys to the city, so to speak?
Well, first of all, that was an administrative issue. It was a non-issue that was, blown up out of proportion by the press, and that's what happens when you're in a position of public service, and I get that. I wasn't receiving my notices. They were going to the wrong address that the Florida bar had as soon as I realized that it was fixed, and it was actually retroactive, so my license was not suspended according to the Florida bar. And as a matter of fact, after that, I was nominated and installed onto the Sarasota County Board of Bar, the Sarasota County Bar. So obviously my peers understand that it's a non-issue. It was made an issue in the press, and I value my public service and the experience I got at the prosecutor's office. I think it uniquely prepares me for this position. I worked under the ordinances that the city passes. So I know uniquely which ones work, which ones don't, which ones need to be fixed, and which ones need to be thrown out. So I think it's an asset, and if people have concerns about that, then I'm more than happy to explain that to them.
And Jen, we raised the issue of STOP, which a lot of people support, a lot of people do not. But when you read about your background, some people are saying out there, boy, she's part of this cabal that it wants to control development in the city, and she will be aligned with Susan Chapman or some other people in our community. What do you tell our viewers in terms of your independence, if you are on the City Commission?
Yeah, and I really like Mr. Hyde's analogy of the plane and flying the plane and who do you want to land it, because if the plane is going to be the City Commission, then I have had 20 years experience in this city. I have been on the planning board. I am a member of STOP. I know all about the zoning code, the comp plan, the EDCM, the downtown master plan. So I have a lot of experience, and yes, I am involved with STOP. I helped to found the organization, and I am very proud of it. Again, it has 3 goals, and I am about many more than 3 goals. And as far as the people that I surround myself with, I am a neighborhood leader. I'm a member of CCNA and have been for 15 years. So yes, I do know all of the neighborhood leaders in the city of Sarasota, and I do know the commissioners, and I do know the city staff, and I do know the people that serve on the advisory boards. So I have surrounded myself with some very, very capable people, and I'm very proud of that, and I think I can land that plane just fine.
All right. We have just a little bit more time, less than a minute. I did want to get to something. Let's call it a bullet round. In terms of traffic, parking meters downtown, yes or no, Martin?
Absolutely not. Crazy idea.
Okay.
No.
Jen?
I would not support that, but it's already been implemented.
Okay. Why don't we take...
Which it hasn't.
Well,
it hasn't. See, that's just not true.
Well, it has been decided upon.
And the commission meets next week and we can change it.
All right. Why don't we take a break? The election for the Sarasota City Commission is Tuesday. You could vote early until Saturday. Why should you vote for these candidates? They join us for closing statements. Each of you will have 1 minute when we come back. Welcome back. As we said before the break, Election Day is on Tuesday. You have until Saturday to vote early. We now go to closing statements, and each of our candidates will have 1 minute to make their case, and we'll begin with Hagen Brody.
All right. Well, thank you for having us once again. This campaign has been a long campaign, but it's been great. I've talked with thousands of city residents over the course of this campaign, and having grown up here, I was so familiar with this area and these neighborhoods, but to really get to know the people and what concerns them, what issues that they feel are the most important in this community over the course of this campaign has been a true honor. And it's my greatest source of education, and I will take everything I've learned to the commission with me. So once again, I grew up here. I moved back here after law school to bring, to make a difference and to bring some fresh perspectives and some fresh leadership to this city. I started as a prosecutor and I got a great education in the problems that this city has. And I want to take that education bring fresh perspectives and fresh leadership to the commission.
Thank you very much. Martin Hyde, you have a minute.
Well, and thanks, Alan. You know, I've had a great time too. It's a lot tougher than it looks. There are things that I've been struck by. We got 25% less police than we had 15 years ago, 16 per shift, sometimes as low as 12. Kelly Kirshner, one of Jen's endorsements, was here last week in the show, and she said that we should cut the police budget still further. Quite a bizarre statement and very concerning that somebody that would endorse somebody would say something like that. We absolutely need to move our election to November. You know, that's a basic civics lesson there. You know, we get less than 20% of people vote. It costs us an extra 100 grand. We move the election and we'll get more people vote. The reason they don't do it, turkeys don't vote for Thanksgiving. The status quo suits the current people. We've got to cut waste. We stop adding 150 grand assistant city managers, 50 grand for recreational specialists at Robert Taylor Park, and invest in our public safety. We're going to lower our taxes. And one last thing. No sanctuary city in Sarasota ever on my watch.
Martin, thank you. Jen, you get the last word for the next minute.
Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Thank you for having us here. I just wanted to let everybody know that I am passionate about this community. I have served this community for the last 20 years in a variety of different fashions, again, from the neighborhoods to the planning board. And I would always be dedicated into doing what was best for this community. The community has my best interest at heart, and I would always look out for what is best for this community. So I hope people get out and vote on May 9th. And there's early voting now, and I hope that I earn one of 2 votes on May 9th.
All right. Thank you all for being here. Tonight, these are your candidates for the Sarasota City Commission: Jennifer Ahern Koch, Hagen Brody, and Martin Hyde.